I'm just the average consumer of chocolate and cream in a jar. That's nice. It's so good. I think I'm not into studying as much as I'm into getting the sweet treat while studying. Studying needs a sweet treat. The chocolate's at the bottom. I'm gonna straw. Finished it already. It's so cool. It's so sweet. Cream. Back to social control. The flash notes I made on Gizmo were quite underwhelming. Not very well versed with the theories and definitions of social control. But that doesn't mean there's going to be 40 Gizmo cards, 40 flashcards to like summarize the whole PDF that I uploaded. I'll have to make my own, I suppose. So this is what I have, right? Who wrote the book titled Social Control with Rounds of Eros, but I am not sure how relevant that is if you don't know anything else about the book. Then introduction of the term, I guess that's a valid one. That's what flashcards usually do. But then if the question asks what's the primary concern of social control, it's not going to be just maintenance of order and stability in society, because there are the aspect of conformity and solidarity as well, which are just as important, if not more than order. And for MacIver, then they also talk about how it maintains itself. So I suppose that maintenance of order is maintenance of a stable society. But then again, because of conformity and consistency of the elements of social control is how society then maintains those elements of social control. It's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. But the text thing that they give, social control aims to bring about conformity, solidarity, continuity of a particular group or society. Social control attempts to achieve the following purposes. So this is like the purpose of social control, and there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points. It's a little bit difficult to answer such broad questions in sociology because according to different people, different the primary concern of a certain theory or a certain phenomena is going to be different. This doesn't specify that. And also the textbook that oh, I'll let it go. According to the textbook that I don't know if I shared it. I think I did. According to that, there is a compilation of all of the people who talk about of sociologists, political theorists, anthropologists, I suppose, who spoke about social control. How do McIver and Page define social control? There are also multiple definitions of social control that are right in the beginning of the PDF by which is in the textbook by C.N. Shankar Rao. And the definitions are by like Fairchild, there's E.A. Ross, there's Mannheim, there's Ogburn and Nimkoff, there is G.S. Rosek, and G.A. Lundberg. So there are that many definitions, and all of them, although they do talk about social control in a sense that you would think of social control as, but it's just difficult to point towards one thing if your question isn't being specific. Go on. How do McIver and Page define social control as a way in which whole social order becomes consistently interlinked and maintains itself. And what are the two most important goals under social control? So McIver and Page say that conformity to norms and expectations of the groups and maintaining order and solidarity in society are the two most important goals, but these are the two most important goals as described by McIver and Page. What element is present in social control according to the study material? There's influence, persuasion, and compulsion. Yep, I think that's all I wrote as well. Yeah. At what levels can social control operate? Can operate at different levels, including group to individual, and individual to group. Let me just add that. Yeah. What is the scope of social control? Ranges from managing deviance to social health. That's again McIver and Page. What is self-control in relation to social control? External control is not required. Um, so basically, what self-control means. And whenever there is the concept of doing the right thing, then morality of a certain society also is very much impacting what is right, because there is never a black and white right, but in different situations, in different societies, in different as a different person in a different social position, you're supposed to do a different thing. Um, So all of the roles that you play in whatever society that you're in, perhaps you're not in your usual society, and you're a foreigner somewhere else, and then you're supposed to do something completely different in a situation. I am traveling. You're right. How does socialization relate to social control? I didn't get to this part. Didn't even read it. Helps individuals learn and acquire cultural characteristics to participate in society. I will believe them just because I don't know the answer. What are related concepts? Oh, to social control. So there's self-control, socialization, conformity, uniformity, solidarity, continuity, and social change. Moving on. The types of social control are informal and formal. Laws, rules, regulations enforced officially by social and political authorities are formal social control, and informal social control is strategies that are adopted in interpersonal relationships, like shaming or praising someone. And examples of those would be shaming, praising, curfews, stigmatization, dress code, and censorship. Okay, I don't get it. I don't get it. Examples of what? Like shaming and praising are informal. Curfews could be formal. Stigmatization should be informal, I suppose. Dress code, dress code. Now that's a loose term, but when it says code, I would say it's formal as a rule. Censorship, censorship, I suppose, is formal. What characterizes informal social control? You have something to say? I don't think you have anything to say. Um, informal social control is casual, unwritten, and lacks regulation. So, casual praise, ridicule, gossip, ostracism, which I think stigmatization is. Codified formal social control is characterized by codified, scheduled, organized, or regulated methods. What are preventative mechanisms in social control? To, this is kind of oversimplified to the point that I don't understand anything. So preventative mechanisms are preventative. That's what this is telling me right now. These mechanisms are designed to prevent such situations from developing, from deviance from developing, that might lead to deviance of socialization, social pressures, establishment of role priorities. Force are some of the mechanisms through which conformity is promoted or the occurrence of deviance is prevented. Um, Mechanisms to promote, to manage tension, safety valves like humor, games, sports, leisure, leisure, sure, rituals that are religious outlets for tension. I don't feel like speaking. I'm gonna think in my head now. I hope you miss my voice. I really don't feel like speaking anymore. Oh, wait, let me share this tab instead. So safety valves here are also mechanisms to manage the tension. Hmm. I'm so sleepy. What are psychological sanctions? Oh, negative sanctions like ridicule, positive sanctions like praise. Other than this, I think there's a whole section on sanctions, but I thought sanctions, say sanctions. Yes, did. What is it? Okay, so you can see one of the pages is missing. Sanctions represent a means of maintaining social control. As Robert Beards, Beardstead has pointed out, sanctions are the supporters of norms and punishments apply to those who do not conform, and reward given to those who do. According to Duncan Mitchell, a sanction is a means of enforcing a rule or law and may be positive or negative. It may take it may take the form of a reward or punishment. So sanctions are rewards of punishment applied to a group or a society. The prefix social is commonly used. Young and Mack opine that sanctions are rewards of punishment used to establish social control, that is, to enforce norms in society. Sanctions are applied for the purpose of maintaining social order, that is, to bring about conformity. It's exactly what the Lamagos was. They used to force or persuade an individual or group to conform on social expectations. So the benefits I can't tell you because that page is missing. But negative sanctions inflict pain or threaten to do so are negative in character. As Young and Mack suggested, they include various means such as gossip, slander, satire, laughing, and others, name calling, threats, commands, censorship, or even overt action. Gossip means as a means of social control is largely critical in tone. It helps in moving public opinion against violating norms. Satire is a method of exposing the foibles and weaknesses of a person through verbal lashes. Laughing at others has been an age-old method of isolating the person of its target from its fellows and putting him to shame. Name-calling means labeling persons and groups with debasing names. It is a common device in propaganda. We'll talk about propaganda soon. Here the target of attack are branded, for example, as communist, fascist, reactionary, communalist, and so on. Commands represent direct power. They are direct verbal form of holding. Threats are the most severe form of verbal sanctions. They become very effective when supported by physical force. Censorship is complementary to propaganda. It is a restraint on the expression of the opinion. like normally then 1984 by George Orwell and the last two of these, especially censorship and the verbal threats, propaganda, all of these are oh my god, the part where I am one of the character, the protagonist or whatever, I don't feel for him, but he's in prison at the moment and yeah. So this is very relatable. This is something I can relate to that. Wait, I'll continue reading for a little bit. The method of overt action is the final sanction where no other way remains open. In this method, pain, suffering, and even death may be inflicted on one person. It includes fines, imprisonment, whipping, mutilation, torture, banishment, ostracism, and even death. Negative sanctions are applied only by the state. Oh, extreme negative sanctions are applied only by the state. I don't think that's true. I don't think it's true that. Well, I suppose if somebody else does it, then it's deviant behavior rather than. Let's not go to that. Love sanctions. I love the state. Um, so moving on, mechanisms check or change deviant behavior is they talk about sanctions again, and they classify it into psychological sanctions. Negative sanctions are reproof, ridicule, non-acceptance, ostracism. Um, Positive sanctions include acceptance into the group, praise, invitation to the inner circle events, verbal or physical pat on the back, gifts, etc. There are physical sanctions that are mostly negative. Most important form of physical sanctions are expulsion, physical punishment, and extermination. Economic sanctions, therefore, include positive rewards like promotion for loyal, sincere worker, grant of tenders to civic-minded businessmen, negative sanctions like threats of loss or reduction in one's income, um, village excommunicates. Oh, okay. So an economic sanction would be if a village excommunicates one of their members by threat of discharge by employer that may prevent the employee from continuing strike according to boycott. I'll come back to that by myself. Propaganda mechanism. Another important mechanism that can bring about a change in the desired direction is propaganda or molding public opinion. Propaganda is deliberate attempt to control the social behavior and interrelationships of members in order to change the feelings, attitudes, and values. For example, efforts of the government to control population growth through family planning and propaganda. I'm going to give you some spoilers for 1984 if you haven't, you know, read it. But that book is full of propaganda. I haven't finished reading it, but I'm on book three, I think. It's beautiful. I hate that book. That I'm judging too fast, and I mean there isn't much to hate as much as there is to like. It's just a book. But themes that are very prominent in it would be surveillance, firstly, control of thought, of speech, of expression, like facial expression, not expression as in being able to express any of your emotions or any of your thoughts. That is like illegal because of the kind of surveillance that you're under. There are telescreens that watch you constantly. Some people aren't allowed to turn them off, but if you're in a party, then you can turn it off for 30 minutes at a time. And they quite incredible, quite one-dimensional. I would say that is the Brotherhood, that is a organization against the party leader Big Brother. Big Brother isn't seen by anyone. Maybe he isn't even a real human being, but he's the face of the party. Um, he's the one who talks to people through the telescreens. Any kind of rebellion, any kind of conscious thought is reprimanded. It is sanctioned negatively through imprisonment or I don't really know what happens because I'm not there yet. I will be very soon. I'll tell you tomorrow. um, the amount of restrictions, the amount of education, the well, rather, it's propaganda that is sent out. There are kids, all the children go to spy academies, spy schools, something like that, and they become spies. So they are expected to report any kind of thought, any kind of non orthodox speech that they might have heard from their parents, from their neighbors, or they have spy gadgets like I think a listening horn little girl has that she uses on her father and sends him to prison when he was speaking in his sleep. Um, the children are the ones who are most susceptible to propaganda and least they have a list of memories before the revolution, so they don't have a world to compare to before the revolution, right? And the same is with the love interest as well. I don't know what to call her, but I think her name is Julia. And Julia is. What do you mean you think her name is Julia? Her name is Julia. Julia again was born after the revolution and does not remember of her life before. But she wasn't there, so how can she remember anything before the revolution? And the protagonist is in awe of how little she knows, how little she cares, and even with not knowing, she's against the party. The party is like sort of the government, how we use the government, but that is just one party, so it's not a democracy. It's supposed to be socialist, I think. That's what they're implying. And there are the proles, which are the proletariats. They are not party members. They are excluded from society. They are neglected and the city it's like the city of London, but it's in a country called Oceania, which used to be Britain, now is not. And Oceania is like at war with Eurasia and I don't know these made up things. Um, and they keep interchanging and they keep erasing memories and nobody's supposed to question that there has been a change or things have been manipulated. They always say things. They cut with the party. It replaces numbers, manipulates statistics, and just makes things up to make the party's work sound good. And the children are the ones who have nothing to compare this life to. So this is the life they see. They believe everything the party said because they cannot point out the falsifications, like the contradictions is within the speech of the party. That's all I know. Going back to studying. I think this was one of the extra readings and I picked it up when I was looking at the unit by unit, like syllabus thing a few days ago. It's quite a boring read. Like there's nothing. It's a notebook. I don't know. I don't expect to have an epiphany from reading. If I sounded highly critical of that book, it's not because I dislike it. I did say I hate it a few minutes ago. Hmm, let me think about it. I'm actually repulsed by that book, but mostly by the protagonist and his is indifference. But then again, it is whatever he's doing is a big it's a big rebellion for him. And in my position, I wouldn't see that as a rebellion because I'm not in his position at all. There is not that much of a surveillance um, as he faces, or the thought police that will indefinitely murder him, or the life of his life is like of starvation. Not starvation at a point, yes, but the mission and the having to do things out of compulsion rather than will, or his lack of. I like Julia, character of Julia, because she's deviant in the form of doing everything that she preaches against, and her contradiction is something I enjoyed reading about so far. They have been separated right now, and I have no clues about her whereabouts and stuff. So I hope she's alive, and can't wait for this studying to be over so I can get back to the book. Right, right. I don't want to study anymore. Come back tomorrow. Didn't do much today. I'll study after dinner. Bye bye.